Okay, so you guys have sent in some really interesting material for us to dig into this time.
Uh-huh.
A blog post from Ryman Agency about content distribution,
Yeah?
where it's headed, and how we should be thinking about it. And honestly,
Yeah.
the timing on this couldn't be more perfect
Right.
because it does feel like the ground is constantly shifting under our feet when it comes to getting our message out there.
It really does.
Yeah.
It really does.
So
Yeah,
I'm excited to jump into this with you.
yeah, me too.
And for everyone listening, thanks for sending that in. I think it's going to be a good one.
So what this really gets into is sort of like rethinking the entire approach,
Yeah.
moving away from just like a central hub,
Right.
having a website as like the one place where everything lives.
Oh, right.
And moving towards this much more fluid multi-channel strategy.
Yes. And
Yeah.
being a lot more strategic and intentional about
Absolutely.
where you're showing up, because it's not enough to just show up everywhere
Yep.
or anywhere.
No.
You have to be really thoughtful about,
You have to be where your audience is.
yes,
Absolutely.
where they are, what they're doing on those platforms,
Okay.
how they're behaving.
Yep.
So that's what we really want to dig into today.
That's it.
Why is this happening?
Yep.
What are the actual benefits of a multi-channel approach?
Yeah.
What are the concrete steps?
How do we actually do this?
Yes. How do we do it? We
Yeah.
want everyone listening to this
Right.
to finish this deep dive and not just feel like, oh, that was interesting, but I actually feel empowered and I feel like I can.
And ready
Like
to
that.
really like implement these things?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so this blog post kicks things off by talking about this fundamental challenge we're all facing, right? We're
Right.
just absolutely bombarded with content.
Content everywhere.
It is.
Constantly.
Everywhere. All the time.
And it's only getting worse. Yes. And that's the thing, is that it used to be,
Right.
maybe like 5-10 years ago, it was like,
You just had to create good content
Yes.
and people would find it.
yes.
But that's not the case anymore.
No, it's not even close to being the case anymore.
No.
So what this blog post is arguing, and what we've seen in our own experience, is that
Yeah.
even good content, even great content,
Yeah.
can get lost
It's lost.
in the shuffle if you're not
Right.
really smart and intentional about where and how you're distributing it.
Jack, it's not enough to just create it anymore.
No.
You have to get it out there.
Yes.
You have to be strategic about it.
And so the first thing is they point out that the way people are consuming information has really fundamentally changed.
Yeah.
We're not just sitting down at our desk and
Browsing websites.
browsing websites anymore. We're
Yeah.
constantly in motion,
We're on our phones. We're
hopping between social media feeds, our inboxes,
video.
YouTube shows like this,
Messaging apps.
messaging apps.
It's crazy.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
So this idea of just having a single place online, like a website
Right,
where
yeah.
everything lives,
Yeah.
it just doesn't work anymore.
It's just not enough.
No.
Because people are not behaving that way.
Exactly.
They're not just going to one place.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is where I think this idea of omni-channel engagement really comes into play.
Yes.
Which they talk about in the blog post,
It's a great point.
which is how someone interacts with a brand in multiple places.
Yeah.
So it's like they might discover you on Instagram,
Uh-huh.
then do a quick Google search,
Right.
land on your website.
Read a blog post.
Yeah, maybe they watch a product review on YouTube,
Uh-huh.
and then maybe eventually they make a purchase, but it's rarely a straight line
Right.
anymore.
It's a journey.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a journey, and it's
All over the place.
all over the place.
Yeah.
And people expect a much more tailored experience now, don't they?
They do.
The blog post talks about this.
Oh, yeah.
That audiences are increasingly looking for content that speaks directly to
Right.
their interests.
Their interests, their behavior.
Yeah, it's not enough to just blast the same message out to everyone,
Nope.
everywhere.
No, it has to be relevant
Yeah.
to that person.
And I think this also ties into the fact that, let's be honest, our attention spans are,
Getting shorter and shorter.
yes, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we all have ADD now.
We do.
Yeah,
We
there's
are.
so much coming at us all the time.
Yeah. So,
Like shiny objects everywhere.
So the blog post makes this point that brands really have to grab attention quickly and deliver value almost instantly.
Immediately.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like if you don't hook them
You've lost them.
immediately,
Gone.
no one has the time or the patience to wade through
Yeah.
endless information to find what they're looking for.
Exactly.
So this is a big challenge.
Yeah.
How do you break through all of that noise and really connect. How do you stand out?
Yes.
Yeah.
How do you stand out? And the blog post uses this really interesting example of a fitness brand.
Oh, yeah.
So just a static website for this fitness brand
Right.
just isn't going to cut it.
Not more.
No.
No.
But they're using things like short engaging videos.
On Instagram Reels.
Yeah.
Short form videos.
And then diving deeper into topics on a podcast.
Yep.
And then using email
Personalized email.
to send like really specific offers
Right.
to their different
segments.
Yeah. So they're really meeting their audience where they are
That's it.
and in formats that suit different needs
Absolutely.
and different moments in their journey.
Yep.
So this leads us to this point where the blog post is saying having a presence across multiple platforms
Yeah.
isn't just a bonus anymore.
It's not a nice to have.
It's not a nice to have.
It's essential.
It's table stakes.
Yeah. You have to do it.
So what are the fundamental reasons behind that?
So it really comes down to three things. Visibility,
Okay.
credibility,
Okay.
and engagement.
Got it.
So if you are only on one platform, you are limiting who you can reach.
Right.
You are not going to connect with potential customers
Yeah.
that aren't on that platform.
It's like if you only have a shop in one tiny little corner of a massive market, you're going to miss out on all those customers in other areas
Right.
of the market.
Yeah, and the algorithm might change,
Yes.
you know?
And the blog post specifically talks about this.
Yeah, they do.
The danger of relying too heavily on one platform.
Oh, yeah.
Because what if that platform changes its algorithm or changes its rules
Yours shuts down.
or shuts down?
You're in trouble.
Yes, you're in big trouble.
Yeah.
So by diversifying where you are online,
Yeah.
you increase your potential audience.
You reach more people.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that consistent presence across multiple platforms. This is what the blog post argues, builds trust. People see you showing up,
Consistent.
providing value in different places, in different formats.
Yeah.
It reinforces your expertise, your credibility.
Absolutely.
So it makes you seem
Trustworthy.
more established, more reliable.
Like you know what you're doing.
Yes.
Right.
And then there's this whole engagement piece.
Engagement's huge.
Different platforms lend themselves to different
Right.
types and levels of interaction.
Of course.
So somebody might just passively scroll through images on one platform.
Right.
But then on another platform,
They might be commenting.
they're actively participating in a
Oh, good.
live Q&A or
Yeah.
something like that.
Totally.
And the blog post makes a really good point, I think, about the dominance of mobile.
Oh, yeah.
Most people are accessing the internet on their phones.
Most people
Yeah. So your
have
content
to be optimized
has to work.
on a
Like,
smaller screen.
if it doesn't, you're
Yeah.
losing people. You're going to lose people if your website is
Nah.
difficult to navigate on a phone.
If you have to pinch and zoom,
Yes.
forget it.
Or if your videos aren't formatted properly
Yeah.
for mobile viewing,
Yeah.
you're just putting up these barriers
Exactly.
for a huge portion of your audience.
And you don't want to do that.
No.
Well, yeah.
And they use this great example of a handmade crafts e-commerce store
Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
that is doing a really nice job of this.
They're killing it.
So they're using Pinterest
Beautiful visuals.
for those gorgeous product photos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really nice aesthetic.
Yeah. And then they're using TikTok for
Behind the scenes.
like quick fun
Quick little glimpses.
glimpses behind the scenes,
Yep.
showing how things are made.
Yeah. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's engaging.
And then they're using email
Email.
for those like more personalized updates and promotions.
Direct connection
Yes.
with their audience.
So it's a really well-rounded approach.
It is. They're doing a great job.
Yeah, they're hitting all those different touch points.
Yeah.
So
That's-
we understand why this multi-channel approach is so important.
Yeah.
Now,
Let's get into the nitty gritty.
yes, let's talk about the tangible benefits.
The good stuff.
Yeah, what does this actually get you?
Right.
So the blog post outlines some pretty compelling advantages.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Greater brand visibility is a
Okay.
big one.
So how does that work?
So if you're putting your content out
Yep.
on multiple channels,
Uh-huh.
you are increasing the likelihood that people are going to
Discover you.
find you.
Yeah.
Not just on social media,
Right.
but in search engine results as well,
Yeah, the more places you are online, the more likely people are to
to find you.
stumble across you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I really like what they say about diverse content formats.
Oh, yeah.
You can really stretch a single piece of content,
Repurpose it.
repurpose it.
Yeah.
So you take that blog post,
Uh,
you turn it into a short video.
Yep.
You pull out some data points, make an infographic.
Absolutely.
Maybe you discuss it on a podcast.
Uh-huh.
You're catering to a lot of different learning styles.
Different preferences.
Yes.
Different ways people like to consume information.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then I think mitigating risk is a really big one here.
Huge.
Because they make this point, which is so true, that if you're overly reliant on a single platform, you are putting yourself in a vulnerable position.
Yeah, you're putting all your eggs in one basket.
Yes.
What happens if that basket breaks?
What if that platform changes its algorithm?
Changes its rules.
You know, we've seen this happen
all the time
with different platforms, right? Where people who built their entire businesses
on one platform
on Facebook or Instagram, and then suddenly
the
rules change, and they're left scrambling.
Absolutely.
So by diversifying, you're mitigating that risk.
You're spreading out.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the potential to increase your revenue streams.
Yeah, got to make money.
Yes.
Right.
And the blog post talks about things like social commerce and affiliate marketing.
So many different ways to monetize your content now.
Yes.
It's amazing.
It is amazing.
Yeah.
And they use this great example of a financial consulting firm.
Yeah, they're doing a lot of different things.
They are. They're using blog articles for like really in-depth content.
Long form.
Yeah.
For people who want to really dive in.
And then LinkedIn.
Connecting with other professionals, networking.
Building those relationships.
Yeah.
YouTube for like making those complex topics more accessible. And then a podcast.
People who want to listen on the go.
Yes. Yeah. So they're really covering all their bases.
They are.
So this is all great in theory.
Sounds good.
It sounds fantastic.
Yeah, but how do we do it?
But how do we actually do it? Yeah. That's always the million-dollar question.
So the blog post gives some really practical steps.
Yeah, lay it on us. Okay.
What do we do?
First thing, understand your audience.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Know where they're spending their time online.
How do we do that?
Analytics.
Okay. Look at the data.
So use the tools that are available to you to see where people are hanging out.
Where are they most active? What are they engaging with?
Yes. Are they on Facebook? Are they on Instagram? Are they on TikTok?
Are they listening to podcasts?
Are they?
Are they reading blog posts?
Yes.
Yeah.
You need to know where they are.
You got to meet them where they are.
Before you can even begin to think about how to craft the right content for them.
And then repurpose that content.
Yes.
Work smarter, not harder.
This is such a valuable point.
Take that blog post you spent all that time on.
Yes.
Break it down into little snippets for social media. Expand on it in an email newsletter. Talk about it on your podcast.
Get the most mileage out of the content you're creating.
So the idea here is you're not constantly reinventing the wheel.
Exactly.
You're taking a core piece of content and then
finding all the different ways.
To adapt it and make it work for different platforms.
And then let the robots help you.
Yes. The blog post also talks about using AI and automation tools.
AI is amazing.
It is.
It can do so much for us.
Things like drafting content, creating graphics, scheduling posts.
There are tools for everything these days.
Oh, yeah.
It's incredible.
It's amazing.
It's a little scary sometimes.
It is a little scary.
But it's mostly amazing.
It can really save you a lot of time and energy.
Absolutely.
The key, though, is to use them
strategically.
Yes.
As a support.
Yes.
Not as a replacement for actual thought.
Don't let the robots take over completely.
Yeah, we still need humans. Yeah.
And then the other really valuable point, I think, is
resource allocation.
Where
are you spending your time and money?
You cannot be everywhere all the time.
It's impossible.
And you shouldn't try to be.
Pick your battles.
Yes.
Focus on what's going to give you the best results.
So really understanding your audience.
Understand your audience.
And knowing where they are.
Exactly.
Because if you're spending time on platforms where your audience isn't...
wasting time.
You're wasting time, you're wasting money.
They're wasting energy.
So be really...
be smart about it.
Yes.
Strategic.
And then A/B testing.
A/B testing, so important.
This is huge.
Try different things.
Yes.
See what works.
Different formats.
Content formats, different times for posting.
Different messaging.
Different calls to action.
See what your audience responds to.
See what resonates.
Yeah.
It's not a set it and forget it thing.
Nope. It's an ongoing process.
It's an ongoing experiment.
And I love that they talk about ethical marketing practices.
Oh, so important.
Because, in today's world, trust is
everything. If you lose trust, you're done.
Really hard to get it back.
Yeah.
So being respectful of people's privacy,
Absolutely.
not being manipulative, providing genuine value, not just trying to trick people into buying things that they don't need.
Yeah, nobody likes to feel like they're being manipulated.
No.
Right.
And then the blog post gives this great example of this tech startup.
Oh, yeah?
That takes a blog post and turns it into all these different things.
Yeah, they're really good at repurposing content.
They're taking a core blog post and turning it into like quick updates for LinkedIn, like an explainer video for YouTube. And then a live discussion on a social audio platform.
Cool.
So it's a really good illustration of how you can take a single idea,
one central idea,
and make it work.
And adapt it in all these different places.
Yep.
Okay, so we talked about why this multi-channel approach is so important. We talked about the concrete steps for actually doing it.
Yeah.
Now let's look ahead.
The future.
The future.
Crystal ball time.
Crystal ball time.
So things are changing rapidly.
Oh, yeah.
Things are not going to slow down.
The digital landscape is constantly evolving.
So what are some of the key things to watch?
So video and audio content are huge.
Yes.
And they're only going to get bigger.
YouTube.
Yeah.
The rise of podcasting.
People love video. They love audio.
Yeah.
It's engaging. It's dynamic.
It's a lot more dynamic than just static text.
Absolutely.
On a page.
Yeah.
So if you're not already incorporating
video and audio
into
your content strategy,
you need to be thinking about it.
You need to get on board.
Yeah. And then AI-powered personalization.
Oh, this is a big one.
This is a big one.
This is going to change everything.
So the blog post talks about how AI is going to allow us to deliver even more tailored experiences to our audiences.
Hyper-personalized.
Yes.
Based on their individual data and preferences.
So AI can analyze all this data.
Tons of data.
And really figure out what resonates with different people.
Right down to the individual level.
Yes.
It's kind of amazing.
It is amazing.
Yeah.
It's also a little
creepy.
Yeah. It's like, how do they know that? I was just thinking about that.
How do they know I wanted to buy a new pair of shoes?
But it's also like really powerful if you can leverage it effectively.
Absolutely.
And then interactive content.
Oh, yeah.
This is on the rise.
Polls.
Quiz.
Things that get people
interactive infographics.
Involved, participating.
Get people engaged.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then, this is an interesting one, decentralized platforms.
This is a wild card.
This is a wild card.
This could really shake things up.
So this is like the idea that more independent,
blockchain-based platforms are
potentially
gaining traction.
Yeah, it's still early days.
So it's hard to know
what
this is going to look like in 5 years.
We don't know what's going to happen.
But it could provide a lot more autonomy
potentially
to creators.
Yeah.
Which would be
interesting.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
And then this is something I hadn't really thought a lot about before.
What's that?
Voice search optimization.
Oh, yeah.
So the blog post makes a really good point about how
voice search is exploding. Everybody's using it.
People are increasingly using
their phones, their smart speakers to search for things.
So you need to be optimizing your content.
Yeah.
For those voice searches.
For the way people actually talk.
For natural language.
Long tail keywords.
Yeah.
Like best travel destinations for families in 2025.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they use this example in the blog post of a travel agency that's really kind of ahead of the curve on this.
Yeah, they're doing a good job.
So they're using short, engaging vlogs for like quick inspiration, and then they have a podcast.
Or in-depth information.
For those who really want to dive in.
Nerd out.
And then they're optimizing all of their content.
For voice search?
For those specific voice search queries?
Yeah, they're smart.
Yeah, they're being smart.
They're ahead of the game.
About it.
Yeah.
Okay, so the blog post wraps up with this really helpful table.
Oh, yeah.
That contrasts single channel.
Versus multi-channel.
Content distribution.
Head to head.
So let's walk through some of the key differences.
Okay, let's do it.
So reach single channel,
limited
channel,
expanded.
Okay.
You're reaching more people.
Engagement.
Okay, single channel, you're kind of at the mercy of the algorithm.
Yes.
Multi-channel, you have more control.
Yeah, because you're using different formats.
Right. To different platforms, different ways to engage.
You're not relying on one platform.
Exactly.
To decide whether or not people see your stuff.
Okay, what about risk?
Risk, single channel.
Right.
You're putting all your eggs in one basket.
Multi-channel, lower risk.
Because you're spread out.
You're diversified.
Okay, content types.
Single channel, limited.
Multi-channel.
Sky's the limit.
Blogs, videos, infographics.
Podcasts, social media posts.
All of it. Personalization.
Single channel basic.
Multi-channel, much more potential for tailoring that experience.
To the individual.
And then revenue opportunity.
Single channel, you're limited.
Multi-channel.
Lots of options.
Lots of different ways to monetize. So, I mean, it really does paint
That's a clear picture.
A very clear picture.
Yeah.
The benefits of
multi-channel.
Embracing a multi-channel approach are pretty undeniable.
In today's world, you have to do it.
So to kind of summarize everything we talked about today, the big takeaway is that
you got to meet your audience where they are.
You got to meet your audience where they are.
And they're everywhere.
And they are everywhere.
So you have to be everywhere.
You have to be everywhere.
Yeah, but strategically.
Right. So embracing a well-thought-out, multi-channel content distribution strategy is absolutely essential.
Optional.
If you want to thrive in today's digital world.
If you want to grow your business.
If you want to grow your business.
If you want to connect with your audience. You got to do it.
So we talked about expanding your reach. Improving engagement. Building credibility.
Absolutely.
And as you're thinking about your own content goals. Think about those practical steps we talked about.
Understand your audience.
Repurpose
your car.
Use those tools to help streamline your efforts.
Stay flexible. Adapt. And be ready to experiment.
Always be experimenting.
Because things are constantly changing.
That's the only constant is change. So here's a final thought. We talked about this increasing desire for personalized experiences. What is one concrete step you can take this week to tailor your content distribution?